You're hot with those overalls. Welcome back to the Convo Couch, everyone. Pastor Jardula here, and my special co-host today,
Franco. Thanks for having me back on again. I think it's like the third or fourth time I'm guest hosting here on the Convo Couch. It's really a pleasure, man. Thanks for having me on.
Well, when we need to go to the bullpen, we go for the Washington DCR, and we go, get it out of here. That's a sign for Franco. And I almost called you Bruno. I don't even know what you like to be called nowadays. I don't even know if that's like a secret out there, but I think it was let out the bag. You were talking about how your name is becoming so popular to some people in DC. So yeah, I don't know.
We don't talk about Bruno.
Gotcha.
that song's become popular and all that. But yeah, I go by Franco on my show. I mean, if people want to call me Bruno, it's fine.
Yeah. Trey Wright was the first in the door today for a Super Ray. Would you believe that? He's always one of the first.
Trey.
I love this guy. Hello, Jolly P,
Shout
Johnny Cool, Sexy Fee, love you all. But it's Frankie B is with us today as well. Do us a favor, everybody. Like, share, subscribe, do all the good things. We are on YouTube. You might notice some of you here. We're back after a week suspension. We're going to do the first two topics over here because we're going to talk some foreign policy. And then we're going to kick over to Rokfin. We have a special, Rokfin only, excuse me. We have a special guest today. Dr. Richard Orso will be joining us on the show. We had a little interview with him when we were in DC just recently. However, there's a lot of questions we didn't get to. If you want to check out that earlier interview, please go to the Rokfin. You'll see it there. Dr. Ryan Cole, Dr. Urso. It was a lot of fun. So we're going to put that on out there as well. But yes, join into the Rokfin if you can, if you haven't signed up. But we'll be hanging out for a little bit on YouTube. So right now is the time, ladies and gentlemen. Like, share, subscribe. Even though I don't think it's even working nowadays. We were talking about this before. Oz is on the ones and twos. Oz, I want to make sure you have a link for your YouTube up and ready. I know we're not too concerned about it. We really don't care. But YouTube is playing their frigging games. We've pretty much been stagnant at 39,700 subscribers for like 2 months and hasn't moved. That's happening with some other people where it doesn't move. So today we want to make a group effort to go and subscribe to Roar Media on YouTube to get those numbers up. If you haven't subscribed to Franco's channel, do that too as well. But you know where our home away from home is, and that's at Rokfin, right, Franco?
Exactly right. Yeah, the channels that are demonetized, which is now going to be almost a year. Our 1 year anniversary of being demonetized on YouTube is about to hit. We're shadow banned as well. We've been very stagnant. And yeah, it's unfortunate. I wasn't even monetized for 2 months and they hit me. But Convo Couch, you guys should have like 100,000 subscribers at least with the consistency and the quality content that you guys put out. It's just that these evil oligarchs in big tech don't want you guys to get big. They don't want you guys exposing them.
Well, they don't want us to get big. You're part of that fam right there too as well. I think it was Niko House too that was suspended us from the MCSE network. Mm-hmm. All three of us took a shot that same day, and they haven't even responded back to our grievances and whatnot. And I don't know if it's one of those situations. I know when it's Roar Media, right? Like they're trying to get to that 1,000. Now they have like over 10,000 on Rokfin and less than 1,000 on YouTube. Like that really makes fucking sense. That's just ridiculous. For us, I don't think they want us to get to 40,000 because I think they don't want to give us, I don't know what happens at 40,000 if you get an email address or someone you can talk to personally, but they're doing this to a lot of channels. It's not just us. It's a lot of people across the board. So today, Oz, do you have a picture of the Roar Media YouTube that you can get ready, that you can just show up on the screen? And don't tell me, don't worry about it. No, I am worried about it. I'm sick and tired of YouTube playing these games. I'm ready to go to Mountain View and start knocking on their goddamn door. So have that ready, and we'll show that up from time to time. Sound like a plan?
Shout out to Roar Media. Amazing work over there.
Yeah.
They do amazing work trying to help out other channels as well, like us, helping us with advice on tech and everything. So they deserve a lot of credit.
Yeah, Oz runs a lot of shows for us, and we wouldn't be able to do this without him. It's crazy though, the censorship that's going on. I talk to older people around here, Franco, my mom's development. They're like, they can't believe it. They would never think of a day like this would come to America, where it's supposed to be all about freedom of speech, freedom, freedom period, right? Like, you're allowed to say what you want, as long as you're not inciting violence, right? Even if it's something that a lot of people don't want to hear. But, I said this before too, I am no longer going to verbally pamper the woke anymore. I'm done with that shit. I remember when I was in a room, Franco, and we used the term Latin America, and some white girl we know, some white Karen, said, you shouldn't use that term.
Latin America? But
yeah, we said Latin America. And they're like, well, that term is not, like, it's not proper to use. It's like, fuck you with your goddamn tone policing. We're fucking done. And it's always these white saviors.
But we Latin Americans use the term Latin America.
Yeah.
Who is she to say what we can't call Latin America?
Yeah. I'm done with that crowd. I'm done kind of bending the knee to them. Done whatsoever. Oz, put it on up right there. There it is, guys. Roar Media. Go over to the YouTube right now. Hit the subscribe button. Everybody out there, let's get this done. Let's put them over the top. Let's push back against these ways. Deep Space, how you doing over there? Steve Wolfbrand, Super Patriot, Lucky Burrito, love you guys. Say hi to Steve Cutler. We see Yona on your show. You guys hanging out. Go check out their show. When he plays his music, man, it's just so relaxing. Malik Clary, longtime listener. Ian's there, Another Worldview Possible. We love you, Super Patriot. I already mentioned your name, so you get it twice. The almighty Antichrist is here. Another shout out and love to our lost friend, Larry Alger. We love you. Gamer for Life is there as well. Jilly Love, all the cool peeps. Tina Q82. Guys, get over to Rokfin if you can. Trey Wright is hanging out. We have another Super Ray really quickly. Kristen Nye, thank you for the Super Ray contribution. It's always appreciated with Franco here on the couch. How do you like that one?
I got to sit on the couch one day. I still haven't gone to LA to sit on that couch. I have never gone to the West Coast, actually.
What is wrong
but
with you?
I don't know what's wrong with me. I gotta go.
Have you never been on the West Coast, man? This is your country.
The closest thing to the West Coast I've been to is in Peru, because that is like technically the West Coast. It's facing the Pacific.
In Latin America, by the way.
Latin America. I do want to add, though, since we're talking about shadow banning and suppressing all these channels that are doing excellent work, exposing the powerful, at the very least, we are forming this very strong, close community with each other. A lot of collaborations. I think we're killing it. Another thing people should be wary of is the channels that aren't getting suppressed or shadow banned. We should be questioning why that is. Are these channels permitted to grow? They're considered political channels, but is there stuff in their content that would be considered not dangerous to the establishment, and that's why it gets promoted? But our content doesn't.
I think it was, did you play a clip once from Destiny talking about how they get bots, just get bots anyways and get your numbers? I don't know if that was
I got to share that. I got to share that publicly.
You should.
I think definitely something to be wary of. Like why, that is really sketchy, right? People out there are willing to buy bots from YouTube to make their channel appear bigger.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about somebody you debated earlier this month. Or last month, excuse me, in January. And, we're going to talk about it when we go to the Shaq clip today. We are going to talk a little bit about Shaq standing up for the working man. But, in Glenn Greenwald's article, his Substack article the other day, and when he did his podcast, he talked about it. He goes, there's certain people that can't get banned because they'll draw too much attention, right? Like Jimmy Dore is near 1 million. They've been fucking around with him. He's had to go to bat and talk to them too about issues, and they can't even give him answers when certain videos give him a strike or taken down or whatever. But once again, he's got close to 1 million. And if you take down his video, whatnot, you cause a lot of commotion. Mm-hmm. The lords of the big tech, whatnot, they understand that sweet zone where we're at, like that under 100,000, but over 10,000. That's the area of these people who are starting to gain momentum. People, they're starting to get listeners, subscribers, and you have to ban them now and kneecap them now, because we don't want to get them any bigger. And, it's not just about taking down about our information. It's very psychological. They're trying to crush our mentality. They're trying to crush our soul.
Crush our morale.
Our morale,
Yeah.
right? That's a great one. All of these things, because it gets really hard when you start, like, you have to reflect. When YouTube took us down over a year ago now, it's about a year right now, not take us down, when they demonetized us, they took away 40% of our salary, like literally. And a lot of people don't recover from that. They want you to go back out there. They want me to go back into the restaurant business. They want you to do other things, Franco. They don't want us doing this full time. And they know if they take away that money. And really, to tell you the truth, it's criminal. I don't think they'll ever have to pay for it. But if there is a God, they'll have to pay for it. They'll have to reimburse us. We have close to 40 channels who've used our January 6th video, which really held up their narrative that Officer Sitnik was killed on that day. And we're demonetized. And all these other TV stations that use it, they're claiming fair use, but yet they have commercials and all these other things, all these other sponsors in which they make money. And now we can't make money. And we're the ones who went out there and did the work, Franco.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's completely unfair what they're doing. It is exactly what you said, crushing our morale, but we're just going to keep pushing, and we're just going to keep collaborating. And our fans over there in the audience are going to keep supporting us. I love the community that we are growing with our audience.
Yeah.
Shout out to all you guys. I love you all.
You guys have been amazing. You've gotten the boots on the ground. You've made this stuff happen. I'm going to read just one last super race so we can get rolling. Guys, if you haven't gone over to the Rokfin, go over to the Rokfin. Dr. Urso will be with us today at the top of the hour. We're going to probably do one subject, one topic, and then probably dive into Dr. Urso. We'll get him on the line. I gave him the Zoom link, so you can hook up with him in about 20 minutes. Let me find this last Super Ray real quick, because it's not coming in. Here it is. Chris Leone. What's up, Chris Leone? Love you. Thank you so much. Did you guys see the town hall that Marianne Williamson is hosting along with the Democratic Party go-alongs, such as Brianna Joy Gray, Crystal Ball, Katie Halper, who takes on COVID, has been disastrous. These people will never learn or doing this on purpose. I'm disappointed in Brianna Joy Gray because she seemed different, but she proves that it's not about race, it's about class. She is a rich Harvard graduate. Franco, I'm going to hand that question over to you because we were talking about
the commenter just nailed it right there, pretty much. They're trying the same thing over and over again that failed. And I made a tweet about that. I shared it out and I was like, what is the definition of insanity? And I put a colon, and it was that tweet, that panel that they put together to put members in Congress to overtake the Democratic Party. That party is not theirs. That party belongs to Big Pharma, the military industrial complex, and all these other industries that are owned by BlackRock and the Vanguard Group. So we're not going to get anything done that way if they have to work with legislation that's written by these people. And we've already seen this fail multiple times already. Why don't they just call it the Justice Democrats again? Might as well do that, right? It was absolutely ridiculous. We're past that. And these people are trying to drag people back to 2016 again.
Yeah. It's so funny, Franco, because I haven't paid attention to that because I'm so far gone. It's a graveyard for progressive politics, the Democratic Party. This is something I think that a lot of other people, smart people, Brianna Joy Gray, Katie Halper, would already get. Marianne Williamson. I think that they'd already say, okay, you know what, this is a failed. Do they still call themselves
progressive? Because at this point, if you're promoting electoral politics in that way, especially if you're trying to work with the Democratic Party still, then you're the opposite of a progressive. You're a regressive.
Yeah, a digressive, right? Going back to the same spot over again. Somebody did ask, though, Franco, what's your opinions about the convoy in Canada? You want to give a quick opinion about that?
Yeah, I did a segment on that with Steve and Glory, and then I did a segment on that with Marcus and all the other guys at the Political Matrix. They do amazing work. We shared a clip from Jason Burmis in which he showed Tucker Carlson talking to one of the truckers, saying that when they pulled up to show their ID at the border, the person who checks the IDs were like, oh, it's okay, I already saw. We already have a system set up in which we can see if you're registered or not.
Yeah.
So
It was
we're
pinging
already
your phone, right?
Yeah, so we're already at the fourth industrial revolution. It's already started.
Yeah. And a lot of people think that's what this is about. Sorry to step on your words, but a lot of people think that this was all about, this situation was all about setting up and getting the tools in place for the fourth industrial revolution that are going to be used moving forward. No?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we talked, I think it was on this show last time that I co-hosted with you, that this is one avenue, like the Rona narrative and having these digital IDs to show whether you are jabbed or not is one avenue. There can be other ways in which they can implement these digital IDs, but they're already taking initiative to start it.
Yeah.
But the Internet of Things is already here pretty much. Like they've already laid it out in this legislation that they craft. And I mean, this is for all the people who voted for Biden thinking that they were going to vote out fascism. I mean, you got more fascism here. These public-private partnerships, this is what you get. More surveillance, more control over you, and more oppression.
Yeah. It's crazy. Damn. It's just deep. I'm sorry. I had one of those thoughts. My mind kind of wandered off going, wow, like we're here. This is it. You know what I'm saying? Because remember when we used to talk about a UBI? I was all about a UBI, right? Like, give me a UBI. But, Steve, God bless his soul, my good friend, Slow News Day, go check him out, Glory Jones. Steve was like, Pasta, do you really want a UBI? And Andrew kind of joined in like, yeah, do you want a UBI? Because think about it. What are you going to have to do to get that check? And that could be on that phone over there, like that, when everybody talks about the social credit score and whatnot. But it could be like, oh, ping. Oh, you didn't complete something to get your UBI check. You're not allowed to travel.
Yeah.
That. Like, there's so many things they can add to the situation.
There is no way that we will get a UBI system that will benefit the people as long as these people are still in power, because they're going to implement conditions in which they will benefit off of this more than we will. And further our oppression, right?
Yep. That's why I think, one of the things that I thought that Bernie Sanders was better about than Tulsi Gabbard was a federal jobs program. And even that can be like, well, what do you have to do in a federal jobs program? But it's definitely better than a friggin' UBI. Right? I think so. But it's still, there's a lot of holes in all these things. We don't want to be beholden to the government. We got to be able to walk on our own 2 feet. It's going to be a weird process over the next several years to see where we end up, not just in the United States, but humanity. You know what I'm saying? Because the odds are against us. And, with everything going on with all these, and this is something we talked about on Slow News Day, like, okay, some people think that this whole trucker convoy, when it comes to the Canadian convoy, it's in Quebec, right? Or no, not Quebec, Ottawa. No.
Ontario.
It's Ontario. It's Ottawa. I think it's Ottawa. Is it Ontario?
Let us know, Canadians in the chat or anybody who knows. I
get it mixed up. I never get my hockey teams mixed up. I know that Ottawa is the Senators. I know that Quebec was the Nordiques. And what was the other province I just talked about? Ontario, right?
Yeah. Okay. People are saying Ottawa, I believe. Ottawa, Ontario.
They were in Ottawa.
But ideally, like a UBI system in which we didn't have the people in charge that we have now, and we had more conscious people, and we did get our basic needs met through a UBI plus all these other guarantees like healthcare and everything. Yeah, I am for that. But under the current system that we have, under the people that we have in charge, we're not going to get an authentic version of that will work best for us.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
No, 100%. And by the way, what I was trying to say too, as well, to piggyback on that, is that in Ottawa, a lot of people were saying that this was kind of like it was like a false flag, or they've been tricked into this, because now it's going to be a way for the ruling class or the 1% to implement automation of trucks delivering food all over the place. But Steve even pointed out, they don't have all the materials necessary yet. That's why we're getting into this form of kind of acceleration. That's why we see a lot of deep sea mining and regime change in places that have these minerals, because they want to be able to get that fleet up, but they don't have those materials yet. They don't have those minerals yet to get this thing going. So that's why I'm saying things are going to be very interesting over the next 10 years.
Yeah, in order to support the 5G technology that's needed for the surveillance and the data collection and everything. Oh, yeah. Right. They're going to kill people in the global south oppress them even more, make them suffer so that they can get technology to spy on you.
Yeah.
And oppress
exactly.
you.
To control you. And that's it. Some people they're going to treat just like, like they don't even mind. And thank you for saying Global South instead of Latin America because,
Oh my gosh, yeah.
My ears couldn't
as
take
a Latinx, as a Latinx person, I find that so offensive, Pasta. Even though I've been saying it my whole life and my family says it my whole life, Latin America, I now find it offensive because some white people told me I should be offended by that.
Some white fucking Karens, right? Like I could see her face when she said that. I was just like, and she was, and Johnny just looked at her like, dude, I'm fucking Peruvian. You're a white girl. Shut the fuck up. It was beautiful. It was great. All right, let's jump into this. We got 60 people over here on Rokfin. Let's get that number up. Let's share. Thank you to all those super rays. You guys have been amazing so far. We have over 100 people on YouTube's, and that's pretty good because we've been shotting out of the algorithm for a week. Get the thumbs up, get the likes up, get the shares up. Oz, one last time before we get started. Roar Media, everybody, YouTube, right friggin' now. Please, I love you guys. I love these people. I love Oz. I love Shanda. I love Amber. I love Franklin. I love all these people involved. Linda in Roar Media. You not only are they just great to work with, they're amazing, beautiful people. Activists from the, from the ground up. They were out there in the get-go. You know what I'm saying? They were out there when it wasn't cool. So please go over to Roar Media, like their show right now, and let's get this thing rolling.
They're very knowledgeable too. Amber was killing it in that panel yesterday with Steve and Anya and everyone.
I made her go into work late to be on that panel. That's how important I wanted to be. By the way, Franco, I don't know if you know, I told you I got a little thing over here. I'm gonna let you see it really quick. This is what I do when I want to start a panel. I write it down on paper and I'm like, all right, this is my game plan. It's like I'm writing up a football play. And I've been writing down some panels and I want to do the same thing. I want to do it on February 16th, which was 2 weeks from Wednesday from the when we had the first panel. And I want to have the same co-host. And I'm not going to tell you, man, but I got like monster panel here planned for you, buddy. Like I got like this time we're gonna really go. We're gonna get dirty with yours, brother. But
oh gosh,
yeah, we're gonna hopefully we can put it together. We have a good time. The one panel that I want to put together, if I can pull it off, man, I don't want to leak any information right now. I will definitely tell you that one particular panel I have that I want to put together that I want to host has Cynthia McKinney in it, and then somebody else who totally might oppose Cynthia McKinney on her stances on foreign policy in certain areas. But I don't want that's no more leakage. That's all I'm saying. Let's get to today's show. What do you say, Franco?
Yeah, let's get to it, man.
All right. Quoting Steve, we live in a cartoon. We do. I titled this section, Biden claims the U.S. kills ISIS leader in Syria. Wait a sec. Wait. Didn't Trump do the same?
Apparently he did. And there's video evidence of that.
Yeah, I know, right?
Of him talking about
it. Let's jump to slide number 7. Trump says ISIS leader killed in a military assault. And so 3 children of Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi also killed in a raid in Syria's Idlib province, the U.S. president says. Now, that's something I want you to pay attention to over here. We're going to play the video, but they announced before when they got this guy, 3 of his children also died as well. And just watch Donald Trump talk about this. I believe this was in 2019, late October 2019. Take a look at Donald Trump bragging about how the guy was a weasel and how they got him. Go ahead, Oz.
He died like a dog. He died like a coward. He was
Volume.
Whimpering, screaming, and crying. And frankly, I think it's something that should be brought out so that his followers and all of these young kids that want to leave various countries, including the United States, they should see how he died. He didn't die a hero. He died a coward, crying, whimpering, screaming, and bringing 3 kids with him to die, certain death. And he knew the tunnel had no end. I mean, it was a closed end. They call it a closed end tunnel. Not a good place to be.
Franco, I'm going to let you start off with your impressions of hearing that right away, because to me, it's just like, here we go again, the puffing up the chest, especially of a guy who didn't spend a goddamn fucking day in the military. In fact, got his daddy to get him out of the military so he didn't have to go fight in a war. Go ahead, Franco.
He wouldn't be able to do it I don't think he'd be able to do that himself, like kill somebody in front of them. Or maybe he would, I don't know, but he seems like he's not empathetic enough. I don't often talk about Trump on my show because the mainstream media already does it for me. Like, you already know a lot of the bad stuff about Trump, although they don't criticize him legitimately about other stuff like this or about how he advances imperialism. Now, Pasta, who was this individual that he was talking about? What was he leading in Syria? Just so that people can understand. And also myself, I'm not too familiar.
Yeah, well, I mean, here's the thing. This particular guy, and I was talking about with somebody from the region yesterday, that he was an actual like leader of ISIS for a long time. Like, he was a known guy, but pretty much, and he had been detained once before by the American forces, tortured, and then let go. And they hit him over there in the province near Idlib. This is that province of Syria, which is pretty much got a lot of ISIS people living there and whatnot, where U.S. forces are still there. They have protection from some, I think, Turkish backing in this area, whatnot. But this particular individual was somebody high up on the chain of supports, supposedly, of ISIS. But the thing to remember, though, Franco, is that we funded ISIS in Syria. So it's like we create this fucking false dichotomy that this is really kind of like an enemy combatant. Meanwhile, we funded him, his operation, and ISIS, and then we go fund the military, if not private contractors now, because there's a lot of military private contractors running all around Syria, Iraq, and all these other countries right now, Afghanistan. And so we just create this constant wheel of death that once we remove this leader, who's next in his place, we'll remove them. And then, to me, which we're going to see in this next clip, the press, how they go about it. I mean, 3 people died. 3 children died when we killed the first guy, right? When Trump got it. And they talk about it if it's nothing, and they just put it off on the ISIS leader as if he's responsible for these deaths. No, we are. We're responsible for these children dying, are we not?
Yeah, we are. We are. That's the standard pattern, is to create a boogeyman when there otherwise was not a boogeyman, or if there is a problem in that country, we should let the people of that country deal with it because they have their sovereignty. We should respect that. But what the US does, like you said, is they fund terrorist organizations, then they paint that as a boogeyman, as a reason for why we should invade that country. Like, oh, look at what they're doing to their people. That wouldn't have happened if you had not fed them, if you had fed those terrorist organizations to grow into what they are, the levels of dangers that they become.
Yeah.
So this right here, what is this? U.S. raid in Syria targeted the leader of ISIS, Biden says. So what, we're continuing the same thing under Biden?
Yeah, it's almost the same thing. That's why I have on the thumbnail, he's like, Trump was like, I got him. And Biden's like, no, let me one up you. You know, Biden got him in the beginning of his 4-year, I'm so sorry. There was a plane flying out really close with there. I know it was like a joke. Biden got him in the first year of his, right at the end of his first year of his term, right? So I think that Biden, because this was like 2.5 years later from they got the first guy, right? I think Biden could be one of the first presidents to kill 2 head leaders of ISIS in Syria ever and set a world record. But this part right here is kind of disturbing because I just wanted to play it. Go ahead.
But before you play that, you mentioned the 3 children that died. Yeah. I was seeing people that are justifying the action of killing children in these other countries, in the Middle East especially. They say, oh, well, these are children that otherwise would have become terrorists themselves or would have killed people. These aren't the kind of children that we know from here in the US that just go to playgrounds or just want to play sports. I mean, are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's disgusting. And I'm glad you brought that up. Because that is something that is really, I mean, and what's it about, Franco? Team sports, right? When Trump was in there, they justified it. Now Biden does it. Biden did it in Afghanistan, right? Then everybody on Trump's team is yelling about the kids. It's like, it's just about team sports. Americans are so far removed from this situation because it doesn't happen on their home front, right? The military is not out there just doing what they're doing like they are in these other countries. But just wait a little bit, because the military is coming back home to roost, and their tactics are now being used in the United States. That's why we've always highlighted these issues when it comes to imperialism, because it will come home eventually. Your thoughts there?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll come home eventually. The problems grow there. And then we're like what we saw with Afghanistan, right? And then we're like, oh, we got to do something about those people now. Now that the Taliban has grown and everything. But yeah, and then our military budget increases when that could have been used to help us. Here. But
well, let's pay attention in this here. This is by News Nation. I want you to pay attention to the rhetoric of the media, because now it's just like when it's death, it's not death of children or civilians. They're very catty about it, right? Very cavalier, and I think it's disgusting, because it's part of the propaganda and programming of America when it comes to our mainstream media. That's what these people have become. They've become stenographers for the deep state, for the military industrial complex, and all these other corporations. And it is mass psychosis and programming. Take a look at this video here. Just watch how they sound. News Nation.
Today, Pentagon officials are calling the overnight killing of the leader of ISIS a serious blow to the Islamic State group. It happened as part of a U.S. Special Forces counterterrorism raid in northwestern Syria. And Washington correspondent Kelly Meyer is live for us in the nation's capital. Now, Kelly, civilians, including women and children, were also killed in that raid, but the U.S. is calling it a success.
Nicole, officials say there were no U.S. casualties, and the Pentagon adds that months of planning and reconnaissance saved the lives of 10 people, including 4 children. They're blaming the civilian deaths on the ISIS leader when he blew himself up as U.S. commandos closed in. This is where U.S. Special Forces found Abu Ibrahim al-Hashimi al-Qurashi, the leader of ISIS. These photos provided by the Pentagon show the complex before the ISIS leader set off the explosives Thursday morning, and after, his wife and 2 children inside with him when the bomb went off. More inside the building died, as well as 2 outside during what the Pentagon calls a hostile encounter, when a small group outside the compound attacked U.S. forces. All told, the Pentagon says 13 civilian lives were lost, including 6 women and 4 children. The raid comes after a botched drone strike killed an Afghan family in August during the chaotic withdrawal from Kabul. And today, the president said he made the call to send in commandos instead of a drone or airstrike to minimize the number of civilian deaths. Again, no U.S. casualties, but the Pentagon confirming an American helicopter had a mechanical malfunction and was destroyed. I asked the Pentagon spokesperson about that today.
You mentioned the mechanical issue on the helicopter. Those involved okay, and any other issues we aren't aware of, or did everything run like clockwork?
It wasn't a crash landing. They landed safely. Again, it was a drivetrain issue that rendered that helicopter unusable for the rest of the operation. So obviously it was destroyed, but the crew are safe and sound.
And al-Qurashi had taken leadership of ISIS after his predecessor, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, died in 2019 after another U.S. raid. And a U.S. official emphasized the months of planning that went into this, saying they carefully considered the timing of the raid. Even so, U.S. forces were on the ground for 2 hours, an intense firefight before the mission was complete. Nicole?
It's like they just manufacture consent to stay over there in Syria no matter what. Like, oh, we just got that leader. Now it's another leader. And all they have to do is tell the public, since they made them the boogeyman, is that ISIS is there and we can't leave until ISIS is done. So every so often, every couple of years, new leaders are going to go on the board of who they have to get. So this allows the military-industrial complex to make so much money, and we're still in goddamn fucking Syria. Why are we there in the first place? We've created this whole problem, and it's just going to come back and haunt us because, you know, all these people in Syria, they're not going, whether it's military, U.S. military, British military, Western military, or it's independent contractors that we hire now, and that's the new thing. They're going to look at it as America doing it to them. And I'm afraid that one day they're going to bring the chickens home to roost, and something bad is really bad is going to happen here, Franco, if we keep on pushing the buttons.
If anything, there is this immense amount of negative energy that's being created, people who are feeling vengeful, because let's not forget, under Obama, there was a study that found that the civilian casualties, that rate is at 90%. 90% of people when we send drones to those countries, 90% of the people that are killed are innocent civilians. How do you think those people that are losing their loved ones are going to feel? That's an immense amount of negative energy that's being created there, right, Pasta? So like you said, that the chickens might come home to roost. I would hate to see what would happen. I think the best thing that we can do as citizens is do more citizens journalism like you and I are doing, and expose these people in power that are doing this for just money, and hopefully have these people in the global south understand this isn't what we want. Us as citizens, we don't want this. It's the people that are in charge right now that are doing this.
By the way, Dr. Urso just texted me. He's on his way. He'll be picking up soon. So let's scurry up and finish up this this topic right over here. So this is what it said. This is from this article, that same article from the News Nation right over there. It said, in Syria, President Joe Biden said the United States took every possible precaution to minimize civilian casualties in the U.S. Special Forces counterterrorism raid overnight in Syria's northwestern Idlib province that killed the leader of a violent Islamic State group. You know, look how they frame it too as well. Oh, we know, 6 children, 4 women. Out of the 13 people that you killed, 10 of them were women and children, right? I mean, but my bad. We took every precaution. It's because he was a coward and he blew himself up. Not like you didn't know he would do that anyways. And we don't even know if that's true. They might have just sprayed the whole friggin' area. Who knows? We don't know for sure. And the way they kind of frame it, the violent Islamic State group, right? To make sure that you frame them in that way. The raid targeted Abu Ibrahim al-Hashimi al-Quraishi, which I probably butchered his name. I made it sound Japanese and not Arabic. My apologies. Who took over the head of the militant group on October 31st, 2019. That's when, after, that we killed the other guy, just days after leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi died during a U.S. raid in the same area. A U.S. official said he had died as al-Baghdadi did by exploding a bomb that killed himself and members of his family, including women and children, as U.S. forces approached. As casualties at the site were due to the acts of ISIS terrorists inside the residence, one of the senior Biden administration officials said, briefing reports on the mission. Next clip, U.S. Special Forces carried out what the Pentagon said was a large-scale counterterrorism raid in northwestern Syria earlier Thursday. First responders at the scene reported 13 people had been killed, including 6 children and 4 women. The operation, which residents say lasted over 2 hours, jolted the sleepy village of Atma near the Turkish border, an area dotted with camps for internally displaced people from Syria's civil war. The target of the raid was unclear. The mission was successful, Pentagon Press Secretary John Kirby said in a brief statement that with no casualties, more information will be provided as it becomes available. Let's just roll into Biden's clip, and then, Franco, you can give your thoughts right after that.
Okay.
Good morning. Last night, operating on my orders, the United States military forces successfully removed a major terrorist threat to the world, the global leader of ISIS, known as Haji Abdullah. He took over as leader of ISIS in 2019 after the United States counterterrorism operation killed al-Baghdadi. Since then, ISIS has directed terrorist operations targeting Americans, our allies and our partners, and countless civilians in the Middle East, Africa, and in South Asia. Haji Abdullah oversaw the spread of ISIS-affiliated terrorist groups around the world after savaging communities and murdering innocents. He was responsible for the recent brutal attack on a prison in northeast Syria holding ISIS fighters, which was swiftly addressed by our brave partners in the Syrian Democratic Forces. He was the driving force behind the genocide of the Yazidi people in northwestern Iraq in 2014. We all remember the gut-wrenching stories, mass slaughters that wiped out entire villages, thousands of women and young girls sold into slavery, rape used as a weapon of war. And thanks to the bravery of our troops, this horrible terrorist leader is no more. Our forces carried out the operation with their signature preparation and precision, and I directed the Department of Defense to take every precaution possible to minimize civilian casualties. Knowing that this terrorist had chosen to surround himself with families, including children, we made a choice to pursue a special forces raid at a much greater risk than to our own people, rather than targeting him with an airstrike. We made this choice to minimize civilian casualties. Our team is still compiling the report, but we do know that as our troops approached to capture the terrorist, in a final act of desperate cowardness, he, with no regard to the lives of his own family or others in the building, he chose to blow himself up, not just with the vest, but to blow up that third floor, rather than face justice for the crimes he has committed, taking several members of his family with him, just as his predecessor did. I'm grateful for the immense courage and skill and determination of our U.S. forces, who skillfully executed this incredibly challenging mission. The members of our military are the solid steel backbone of this nation, ready to fly into danger at a moment's notice to keep our country and the American people safe, as well as our allies. And I'm also grateful to the families of our service members. You serve right alongside these soldiers and sailors, Marines, Special Forces, the loved ones, giving them the strength and support they need to do what they do. To our service members and their families, we're forever grateful for what you do for us, and we owe you a debt. Thank you. We're also aided by the essential partnership of the Syrian Democratic Forces. I want to commend our dedicated intelligence community, the Department of Defense, and members of our national security team throughout the government, whose meticulous and tireless work over the course of many months ensured that this mission succeeded. This operation is testament to America's reach and capability to take out terrorist threats no matter where they try to hide anywhere in the world. I'm determined to protect the American people from terrorist threats, and I'll take decisive action to protect this country. And we'll continue working with our close allies and partners, the Syrian Democratic Forces, the Iraqi security forces, including the Kurdish Peshmerga, and more than 80 members of the global coalition to keep pressure on ISIS to protect our homeland. We remain vigilant. We remain prepared. Last night's operation took a major terrorist leader off the battlefield, and it sent a strong message to terrorists around the world. We will come after you and find you. Once again, today, we continue our unceasing effort to keep the American people safe and to strengthen the security of our allies and partners around the world. I want to thank you all, and may God bless you, and may God protect our troops. I'm heading off to New York right now. I'm late, and thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
No questions there.
How many U.S. troops
No
were involved,
questions.
sir?
Just went out. Oh my God, Franco, there's so many things to unpack here, dude. If you want to jump into this first, because I just took little quick notes and it was like, excuse me, one thing after the other. Go ahead, give us your thoughts and your opinions on Uncle Joe Biden keeping us safe.
Those civilians would not have died had the U.S. not created ISIS, number one, and number two, had the U.S. not been there. And remember what we were saying, or not us, like you and I, but what the mainstream media and the State Department was saying about Bashar al-Assad. It's like, oh, he's killing civilians. He's killing his own people, gassing his own people based on, their just talking points, but not evidence, in which there's another story that happened recently of someone just repeating talking points without any evidence to back up his claims. Don't we care about the Syrian civilians?
Yeah.
Well, then why are we creating the terrorists in those countries? And why are we drone striking Syria and killing civilians there? Again, 90% civilian death rate. So not we, us, but the State Department, the mainstream media are hypocrites, especially when they're praising these drones when they're being sent out. But then they don't explain enough or focus enough on what happens when the drones hit those countries and kill these innocent civilians, that they pretend to care when it's the boogeyman that they're talking about, only for us to go in there and kill more of those innocent civilians.
Yeah. And this speech he gave is the same speech that every fucking president that we've known over the last couple decades, gives, right? He props up the military. Our men they're so great. And thank you for the intelligence community for giving us the exact locations. Yeah, right. The same speech. He demonizes the enemy and we will find you. You cannot hide. You know what I'm saying? And says he won't stop. We're going to find you. We took a major bad guy off the world platform over here by doing this, regardless of the fact that we killed all these women and children, right? Talks about our allies and makes it seem legit by saying it's like 80 different allies involved. And, and those forces that he keeps on talking about, that he's talking about we're collaborating with, not just our allies, the Western allies. Those are the forces like the Iraqis, the Syrians. They want us to leave. They don't want us there. This is a military industrial complex causing problems so they can make money with the blood of these people, these indigenous people there, fucking destroying the mind of our military soldiers. They come home, they kill themselves. 22 soldiers every day commit suicide because they can't deal with what they had to see and what they had to do in these other countries for like $11.50 an hour. I mean, it's disgusting all around. And I just, the next clip we're going to play right over here is something that, thank God, Oz put it in the folder right here. I believe it's Ned Price, a real reporter, Franco. You know what happens when real reporters get in people's faces.
In this instance, I don't know the history of Matt Lee, but he works for the AP. He hasn't been fired yet, but regardless, here he did the very simple thing, which we will talk about in a little bit.
Yeah, let's get this rolling.
We have previously noted our strong concerns regarding Russian disinformation and the likelihood that Moscow might seek to create a false flag operation to initiate military activity. Now, we can say that the United States has information that Russia is planning to stage fabricated attacks by Ukrainian military or intelligence forces as a pretext for a further invasion of Ukraine. One possible option the Russians are considering, and which we made public today, involves the production of a propaganda video, a video with graphic scenes of false explosions depicting corpses, crisis actors pretending to be mourners, and images of destroyed locations or military equipment, entirely fabricated by Russian intelligence. To be clear, the production of this propaganda video is one of a number of options that the Russian government is developing as a fake pretext to initiate and potentially justify military aggression against Ukraine. We don't know if Russia will necessarily use this or another option in the coming days. We are publicizing it now, however, in order to lay bare the extent of Russia's destabilizing actions towards Ukraine and to dissuade Russia from continuing this dangerous campaign and ultimately launching a military attack. Russia has signaled it's willing to continue diplomatic talks as a means to de-escalate, but actions such as these suggest otherwise. We will continue to diligently work together with our allies and partners to expose Russian disinformation and other hybrid tactics used against Ukraine. We continue to work to prevent any effort Moscow might make to justify further military action in Ukraine. We again urge Russia to stop its destructive and destabilizing disinformation campaign, to de-escalate tensions, and to engage in diplomacy and dialogue for a peaceful solution. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, well, that's quite a mouthful there. So you said actions such as these suggest otherwise, suggest meaning they suggest they're not interested in talks and they're going to go ahead with some kind of a... What action are you talking about?
One, the actions I've just pointed to.
The
fact that Russia continues to engage in disinformation campaigns.
You made an allegation that they might do that. Have they actually done it?
What we know, Matt, is what I've just said, that they have engaged in this activity, in this planning activity. But let me because obviously this is not the first time we've made these reports public. You'll remember that just a few weeks ago.
I'm sorry, made what report public?
If you'll let me finish, I will tell you what report we made public. We told you a few weeks ago that we have information indicating Russia also has already prepositioned a group of operatives to conduct a false flag operation in eastern Ukraine. So that, Matt, to your question, is an action that Russia has already taken.
It's an action that you say that they have taken, but you have shown no evidence to confirm that. And I'm going to get to the next question here, which is, what is the evidence that they play? I mean, this is like crisis actors, really. This is like Alex Jones territory you're getting into now. What evidence do you have to support the idea that there is some propaganda film in the making?
Matt, this is derived from information known to the U.S. government, intelligence information that we have declassified. I think you know.
Okay, well, where is it? Where is this information?
It is intelligence information that we have declassified.
Well, where is it? Where is the declassified information?
I just delivered it.
No, you made a series of allegations and statements.
Would you like us to print out the topper? Because you will see a transcript of this briefing that you can print out for yourself.
That's not evidence, Ned. That's you saying it. That's not evidence. I'm sorry.
What would you like, Matt?
I would like to see some proof that you that you can show that
Matt, you have been
that shows that the Russians are doing this. Ned, I've been doing this for a long time.
I know, that was my point. You have been doing this for quite a while. You know that when we declassify intelligence information, we do so in a means we do so with an eye to protecting sources and methods.
It's not going to fall. I remember a lot of things. So where is the declassified information other than you coming out here and saying?
Matt, I'm sorry you don't like the format, but we have declassified.
It's not the format; it's the content.
I'm sorry you don't like the content. I'm sorry you are doubting the information that is in the possession of the U.S. government.
No,
what I'm telling you is that this is information that's available to us. We are making it available to you in order for a couple reasons. One is to attempt to deter the Russians from going ahead with this activity. Two, in the event we're not able to do that, in the event the Russians do go ahead with this, to make it clear as day, to lay bare the fact that this has always been an attempt on the part of the Russian Federation to fabricate a pretext.
Yeah, but you don't have any evidence to back it up other than what you're saying. It's like you're saying, we think we have information the Russians may do this, but you won't tell us what the information is. And then when you're asked,
that is the idea behind deterrence, Matt. That is the idea behind deterrence. It is our hope that the Russians don't go forward with this.
You say, I just gave it to you. But that's not what
you seem not to understand. You seem not to understand the idea of deterrence. We are trying to deter the Russians from moving forward with this type of activity. That is why we're making it public today. If the Russians don't go forward with this, that is not ipso facto an indication that they never had plans to do so.
But then it's unprovable. I mean, my God, what is the evidence that you have that suggests that the Russians are even planning this?
Matt,
I'm not saying that they're not, but you just come out and say this and expect us just to believe it without you showing a shred of evidence that it's actually true. Other than when I ask, or when anyone else asks, what's the information? You said, well, I just gave it to you, which was just you making a statement.
Matt, you said yourself, you've been in this business for quite a long time. You know that when we make information, intelligence information public, we do so in a way that protects sensitive sources and methods. You also know that we declassify information only when we're confident in that information. If you doubt the credibility of the U.S. government, of the British government, of other governments, and want to find solace in information that the Russians are putting out, that is for you to do.
I'm not asking what the Russian government is putting out, and what is it supposed to mean?
The video, because the U.S. officials are describing
us. What we're going to do is we're going to switch over. How you doing, Dr. Urso? Can you hear us?
They're saying it's muted.
Real well.
There he is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, everybody on YouTube right now.
Can't
Now
hear.
is the time. What's that?
They can't hear.
Who can't hear?
The audience can't hear.
Oz.
Huh. Can you hear me?
Okay, let's get the sound up. Dr. Urso, give us 1 second. Ladies and gentlemen, now, this is everybody on YouTube. We can't play this on YouTube. You know how they are. They keep suspending us, keep on taking us down, keeping us giving strikes. So now is the time. Jilly Love, if you can put that link up over to Rokfin. Dr. Urso is here. We did a little interview with Dr. Urso at the event the other day, but we're going to ask some questions we didn't get to. He also got to speak, I believe, at Ron Johnson's Senate hearing, which I've only got halfway through that over there. But you might know him. He was one of the doctors that spoke, I believe, is in Washington, D.C., talking about preventative medicines. I believe Donald Trump shared it and they took it down. It was like one of the first videos. It's like, what are they trying to hide? So Dr. Urso is going to join us on the Rokfin. Thank you so much, Jilly Love, for putting it up there. We're leaving YouTube in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Goodbye.